Hey, it's Adam here, and you're watching The Culture Hack, where we're talking about how to create engaged workspaces that unlock the potential of your teams and drive your business forward in ways you've never seen. So stay tuned. Today on the show, we have Jillian Tollner. She's the Vice President of Mountain View HR, and she is an expert in all things people and engagement. So welcome, Jillian. I'm so excited to have you on the show today.
Thank you very much, Adam. Happy to be here.
So first off, tell us about Mountain View HR.
Sure. So Mountain View HR, we're a relatively new company. And what we are is an HR broker. So the premise of that is that we connect businesses with HR services and HR specialists that are out there in the world and help business owners to solve some of those problems by focusing on HR specialists that are that are sort of more local, that are located in Alberta or in BC, and that are set up to specifically help with the problems that different business owners have right now. And we also focus specifically on integrated HR, which is offering a fractional HR support for businesses to get somebody in the office one, 2, or 3 times a week.
Okay, amazing. Well, then you're very close to some of these terms that are flying around these days, the quiet quitting, the great resignation, all these types of things. People are saying they want to feel engaged at work. What do you see in terms of engagement? What does engagement mean to the businesses that you're interacting with?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's actually a big question. Engagement is such a, I think people say it a lot. They're like, we want to have engaged employees and engagement's important, but what does it actually mean? And so what you're seeing a lot of is, I think in general, if you're looking at what engagement means, you're looking at it almost on a spectrum between being engaged and being burnt out. And that's a huge spectrum. So you're kind of having to look at it it's basically looking at, like, how can I get my employees more interested in the work they're doing, more willing to, give the best of themselves to the company, and that they'll want to stay, that they're not going to go anywhere, that they're going to keep investing their time and energy into the company. And what is that, how do we get there from where we are? It's a really interesting space. And I think what I'm starting to see as I'm talking to people and reading about things is it's such an emotional space. And I think it can be, for that reason, there's uncertainty, I think, with some business owners, and how do I approach this, because it is more emotional. And I think that is sort of the new face of business in 2022 and beyond. There's this realization that your employees are also emotional beings too. So it's an interesting space.
I love that. There's because I feel like we often even view peer-to-peer each other as work units, right? So when we see ourselves outside of work, sometimes we struggle to have anything to talk about except for work, right?
Yeah, so, it's true.
Right?
Yeah, that's a thing too. That's right. That's very true.
So I'm curious. You're seeing these trends. You interact with a lot of businesses. Are there some obstacles or specific challenges that are kind of really standing out that companies are dealing with right now?
Well, I mean, I think that a lot of people have this challenge. I think that, the bigger high level challenge when you're looking at engagement is, how do we retain our employees that we have? How do we make sure that the people that are working for us currently are interested in what they're doing, that they're not going to go anywhere? And then also right now, there's a lot of people looking for new hires and employees as well. So I guess I see some of the obstacles as being, well, I guess I see it like this. I think that there has been a way that we've been doing business, and we've been hiring people, and we've been, taking all of these terms that you're saying, like with this quiet quitting, great resignation, the great, attrition, all of these trends that are coming up. I've stopped paying attention to all those little buzzwords, and I've just started looking at it more big picture. And what I'm starting to see is that the way that we used to understand business and approach employees, it just doesn't work anymore. The people that sort of fit in that mold, they're harder and harder to find. So these are the people that you hire, that they're kind of driven by their compensation. They just kind of go to work and they do their thing, and they, check in, check out, and that's it. And there's people like that there's just not as many of them. So we've got this whole other, this just a new way of understanding and seeing the people that are coming to work now. And so there are people that are more interested. They want to have time to be investing in themselves and to be learning and growing that way. They want to have a little bit of flexibility and freedom. They want to know that the company they're working for is making choices with their interest in mind, and also, making sure that they're making the best interest, making choices for the best interest of the customer, so that if they're dealing with customers, they're having a positive interaction. They're not getting yelled at on a daily basis. So I guess I'm not really answering your question, but just reframing it, because I think that the way that we have been doing it isn't working, and it needs to shift to acknowledge the new workers that are coming up. I think, people think of millennials and they talk about that, and it's sort of this 30 to 45-year-olds ish, but they're not kids. Like, those aren't the ages of kids. And I think there's still a little bit of that mentality, and it's just not true anymore. And I think that the value that this group is bringing to the workplace is so incredible, and there's so many ideas. There's this incredible intersection of business and technology. There's a new way to be, a new way to see things, a new way to solve problems, a new way to look at the situation. And so I think it's being able to be open to that and letting that influence how you make decisions about your workplace.
I love that.
To high level, but yeah.
No, I really like that point of view, because I think on the surface we try and address maybe the symptoms, right? People are leaving, well, I better look at my compensation. Or people aren't as engaged, I better host a barbecue, or whatever, right? Like it's going to be the be all end all to your problems, when actually it's an actual change in mindset of the people coming into the workforce that needs to be reevaluated. Your problem, it's never the thing, right? It's something else. So
yeah, it is.
I'm curious, with that vision in mind, if people start to really take a step back and kind of address and value these upcoming workers and the ideas that they bring and the ways of thinking, what do you think will happen with businesses in the future?
Well, I think that the thing that's so interesting about it is you've got all these people with all this potential and all these new ideas and this new way of understanding things. And so where I see that being like influencing the future of work and where we're going is that I think what you're starting to see, so it's tying this in with engagement, what you're starting to see is employees that are more engaged, they have more autonomy at work. So they have more control over what they're doing, how they're spending their time. And companies are seeing great increases in productivity and efficiency when they do that. They're also giving employees more time to explore the things they're interested in. When you create that little bit of extra space for an employee to explore the things that they're interested in, there's this like incredible way. I mean, that's what creativity is, right? Like that's exactly what creativity is. It's where innovation comes from. It's this idea of taking something that seems unrelated, two ideas that seem unrelated, and bringing them together in a new way. And when you give people time and space to explore their interests, you open that door for them to bring that same passion and those same ideas to the workplace. And so it sounds maybe a bit silly. I think in some ways, I think you can say it to somebody and they're like, no, I don't think so. But actually, if you're reading, or the research that I'm reading is showing these clear benefits to doing that. You're decreasing burnout. You're making people feel more empowered. And I think everyone sort of, knows that feeling of when you've given a little bit more space, you act differently. You interact with the world differently when you have that freedom, when you feel trusted, when you feel like people are you're being paid attention to. People are saying, hey, I see what you're doing there. I like what you're doing. Keep it up. I think there's so much room there. And I think it's such a fascinating space, even though it's kind of technically not work, but it is all related to work as far as I'm concerned. So that's where I see a really interesting space. And I think if we can make more of that space for employees, there's going to be a real shift in the way that we see and understand business.
I love that. This idea of putting somebody in a box with their role when they show up, and this is what you do. Instead, it's here's what we do here. We think we know what you're good at. What do you think? Like, kind of unbounded potential, tapping into that. I think that's a really cool concept. Imagine a company that could have, 10 out of 10 people bringing their full potential to work. Like, what could you accomplish? It's
Oh, I
crazy,
know. It's
right?
exciting, isn't it? And yeah, it
Yeah.
is. It's really exciting to think about. And it's exciting as an employer to watch something like that happen. And it's exciting as an employee to be a part of something like that. I mean, it's like that's what people are looking for. They're looking for ways to relate to their company, to feel good about who they're working for, to, feel confident in what they're producing. And like, so those are really basic things. And I guess it's just thinking a little bit outside of the box and how to actually achieve those things. Because sometimes, the ways that we've been doing it, they're too limited, because I think we've outgrown some of them, and we're finding new ways. And I mean, there's incredible people doing incredible stuff. I'm blown away by the HR options that are out there, and what kind of how they contribute to this.
Amazing. I love it. Well, thank you so much for providing this really cool insight. I feel like this is going to be cooking in my brain for the rest of the day. Really appreciate it, Jillian. Thank you for coming on the show and sharing these ideas with us.
Thank you so much, Adam. Thanks for your time.
Hey, thanks for watching The Culture Hack. Do you want to chat culture and engagement? Give us a call and come on the show.